What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck Club. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a video to kind of go over some information that Super Stupid decided to put out in a whole video where it makes no sense. She did her crash out, burnout, I don't want to be mayor no more type of nonsense buffoonery of a video. And she's been putting out what she calls receipts, which I wish to God y'all would stop saying receipts on every little thing. Because when I say receipt, I expect to see a transaction of some sort. You know, like the way that is defined to be. Like the definition of the term receipt. There's no documentation she's producing in videos. None. So we all know that she's at the end of the rope. Tuesday is the last day. And despite such, the documentation that she thinks she's putting out, she's not putting out information to show exactly what's going on or even to justify this. Not laying any foundation of any sort that is understandable. When people are looking at this, you just see a video with her just flashing stuff up, but it has no basis on what this is pertaining to, or showing a check with Jason's name and the clerk's signature on it, but not saying that she knows that she's not on the account and can't sign checks anymore. So, I mean, you know, just things like that I'm going to be dispelling in this video. All right. One of the things that she brought up was this, you can buy a house for $1 thing. Okay. So we're going to just kind of start this whole video off with what the hell that means. So, from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, short-term acronym meaning HUD Homes. They have a $1 home initiative that they developed that helps local governments to foster housing opportunities. And you guys can go on the HUD's website. I'm just pretty much reading a snippet from what I've been able to find and research there. But the HUD Dollar Homes Initiative helps local governments to foster housing opportunities for low to moderate income families and address specific community needs by offering them the opportunity to purchase qualified HUD homes for $1 each. Dollar homes are single family homes that are acquired by the Federal Housing Administration, also FHA, which is a part of the HUD agency, as a result of foreclosure actions. We're foreclosure homes. So keep that in mind. You're buying a home for $1 that has been foreclosed on. We're going to go over the process of foreclosure in a minute. Single family properties are made available through the program whenever FHA is unable to sell the homes for 6 months. So the house has to be basically sitting in the possession of the government for at least 6 months. And these are foreclosed homes, okay? Never know what's wrong with them. Never know what type of value they may have. Just, it was a matter of the homeowner not being able to either pay the mortgage or property taxes or whatever led to the foreclosure. It's gone through the foreclosure process. And if there's any, and I think she said something along the lines of having equity already in the homes. Well, that's not right or accurate, because that's not how foreclosures work. All right. So if by chance you get a home for $1, more so is because someone maybe you had a wealthy grandpa and God forbid he passed and you inherit a home, or your parents decided just want to sell your home for $1 just to have some sort of transaction, and those homes have equity already in them. Most times, like 99% of the time, a foreclosed home will not have equity in it. That's because that's not how it works. And if it had equity in it, the mortgage company is going to be mad as hell. Okay. The mortgage company, HUD, FHA, all these government agencies that would love to take their money out, the IRS, like if you owe taxes or something like that. Yeah, no, they would love to get their cut before you go buy a home for $1 with hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity in it. So Super Stupid still does not understand how math works. I don't expect her to understand how foreclosures work, because that is not the case. So we're going to tackle that, because no one, even if they decide to do this, HUD dollar home program with the next administration with Jason Howes. No one should be going into this thinking that they're going to be able to get a house for $1 because a dumb goon that can't read numbers told you all would have thousands of dollars of equity in it. It wouldn't have been foreclosed on if it did. Those are the types of things that I hope people will ask more questions about before they just think they're just going to buy a home for $1, because if that be the case, these homes would not be available. They will be, somebody at the bank will buy these homes before it even gets through a foreclosure process. And bank people be like, first dibs. We're not even going to let it go that far. So how much equity in this? $200,000. Oh, hell no. I'm buying that house for $1. Come on now. There's certain things we just need to use the common sense God gave a Billy Goat. All right. Single family properties are made available through the program whenever FHA is unable to sell a home for 6 months by selling vacant homes with a current market value of $25,000 or less. You all see that? That's why it won't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity in it. By selling vacant homes with a current market value of $25,000 or less than $25K, not more. It will not be hundreds of thousands of dollars that this property would even be valued at. And having equity in that home makes the value of that house go up. Because who the hell would get rid of a house that has hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity in it? No one. No one would get rid of that house. You will probably use the equity to pay your mortgage and your taxes first before you lose a home knowing that it might go to a dollar program. It's asinine. Come on now. So the current market value of $25K or less for $1 after 6 months on the market, HUD makes it possible for communities to fix up the homes and put them to good use at a considerable savings. The newly occupied homes can then act as catalysts for neighborhood revitalization, attracting new residents and businesses to an area. Local governments can partner with local nonprofit home ownership organizations to tap into existing local programs to resell homes to low to moderate income residents of the community. So if you want to go find out more information, or you just want to, kind of go through what I just read here, because this is all I'm going to read off this website, because there's a whole lot there. You can go on HUD Homes website and then click on you all see the pathway here, program offices, then click on housing, then click on single family housing main page, then click on SFH, HUD Homes REO, then HSG, and then HUD about dollar homes. That's the pathway. See that in blue right there? All right, great. This is some additional information regarding the $1 home ownership program with an organization called NACA, NACA. You guys can check that out. I think they're nationwide. So it doesn't matter what state you're in. Their $1 home ownership program is going to be pretty much the same across the board. What I just read previously was the HUD. Now, this is from NACA. And, basically kind of reiterates, the opportunities that you would have to be able to get the home at these $1 prices. But, of course, it's not going to be a home that has a lot of property value in it, because, of course, they're not going to sell a home like that for $1. Of course they won't. So, no matter how much we want them to, they have down at the bottom, you can see I had to type ownership out because the little flag thing kind of cut it off. But, it's, you can own homes and stuff and have some money, provided to you through certain programs to be able to help renovate these homes and, get some counseling on and making sure you're able to maintain the home. Getting the home is one thing, but, can you afford to keep it up? If you can't afford to keep it up, keep maintenance, keep the taxes paid and all the other stuff, then you probably should not be a homeowner. But, these type of programs are a good way to get started on, taking that next step to home ownership. So the aspect of the $1 home is not a bad thing. It's the false information she's giving behind it that makes it so unrealistic that it goes against facts and evidence. It doesn't make sense. So it will not have hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity. It just won't. These, of course, are government-owned properties sold to the community to help them, just boost up the property value in the community itself. and bring in businesses. There are a lot of things that, having homes that are lived in and having a community that's flourishing can also attract outside business to increase the revenue as well. And maybe become a tourist town or something to that extent. I don't know. But there's nothing wrong with the idea and the aspect of doing that. It just needs to be done the right way. And all of the relevant information needs to be accurately supported with this so that people don't think that if you're going to get a dollar house with $100,000 of equity in it. No, you will not. It won't even be valued no more than $25,000. So, but if you have the money or if you have opportunity to get with programs that can help you, renovate your homes, please do that. You guys can, I don't want to read all this, but I'm scrolling through so you guys can see this information from NACA. And I think it's, a great opportunity to take advantage of. With NACA, you have to go through their little counseling program. You need to be qualified to be eligible to get, a home through them. You guys can see the eligibility criteria here. You must be a city resident or recently displaced. These displaced residents must have lived in the city for at least 5 consecutive years within the last 10 years. So out of the 10, you must be there for 5. Residency verification, you guys see that. Driver's license, because that is proof of your residency. Your driver's license. Okay? Lease, utility bill, bank statements, W-2, tax returns. Homeowner does not have to be first-time home buyer, but cannot currently be a homeowner. So maybe you had a home in the past and it was sold or maybe even foreclosed on. You cannot be a current homeowner. So for those who think you're going to get out there and buy 18 houses like that, nah. You cannot be a homeowner if you do that. All right. And this is through NACA. All right. So y'all might want to go on the HUD website to see exactly what all of their requirements are. But this is for NACA here that I'm reading. And a homeowner's income must be equal to or less than the city median income. Meaning you need to be broke as hell. Okay. Probably hitting the poverty line. Good luck to that. So here's the rest of the information on the eligibility criteria. I mean, they even speak to Section 8, house vouchers, stuff like that. You guys, take a look and read this information here. All right, moving on. The day at the top of it all. What happens to your equity in a foreclosure? Because reading is fundamental. You would think Super Stupid would just at least Google and post the information up before she just speak on it. And I know you watch my videos, Heifer. All you had to do was Google it. All right. What goes on during a foreclosure and your equity and how it affects that? So, let's scroll over to, I'm going to go to page 3. And this information is on the Experian website here. And it kind of gives some overview, helps you to understand, what you will be looking at if you did owe on your mortgage and you had late fees, or maybe if you want to try to get a loan for your home equity, it's like getting a loan for anything else. But you would rather take a loan out, get an equity loan to pay your mortgage and your property taxes, HOA fees, because for some reason, an HOA president can literally take your home for HOA fees, which is stupid. I don't know why, but that's how laws work. Sometimes it's not always the best, and I know I don't agree with every one of them, but they're there for a reason. So you might want to just think about that before you get to the point where you're at a junction of a crossroads, rather, of having to think about a foreclosure on your home, because it's incredibly difficult, to try to recover from that especially when you might be relying on that equity to help you get something else. So, like I said, most people on average will not allow their home to be foreclosed on if they can get an equity loan, or if there's a way to try to get some of those funds to help pay your bills and get you, get stable so that you can keep your home. All right. So how does the foreclosure cost impact your equity? Well, first and foremost, you missed your mortgage. And then there's a late fee percentage with that. maybe 5-6%, up to 10%, whatever the late fee percentage is. You go out and you get that home, end up being foreclosed on. The first thing they're going to do is take whatever equity in that house, and they're going to pay all your missed mortgage payments to the mortgage company, plus late fees. And then the next thing, of course, you see the late fees and missed payments kind of work hand in hand. And then if you have a mortgage loan still on the home, let's say you got a home and you still owe, $75,000. Well, if you got $100,000, like Super said, in the house in equity, $75,000 of that is going to go to the mortgage company to pay off the remaining balance of your mortgage loan. Plus, in addition to that, you're going to have money come out. They're going to take money out of your equity to cover all of your missed mortgage payments plus late fees. Then you have to have the foreclosure process costs covered. So they're going to take money out for that, whatever that may come up to. And if you add in attorney's fees, that can be thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. So if you only have $100,000 in your equity, the mortgage loan itself and whatever balance you still have, that might eat up that equity, which is why you will not have equity in a foreclosed home from a government agency for $1. And of course, the house can't be valued over $25,000. And it must be sitting on the market for at least 6 months. So you're not going to have equity already in it. They're going to take all that shit out. They're going to take all that money out. If there's a chance that there's some equity left over, that will go back to the homeowner. It will not be going to you. So either way, the equity will not be there. So if you got the homeowner, let's say they just owe property taxes and their house got foreclosed on because of that. They couldn't pay the property taxes. Well, and they couldn't get an equity loan. Well, whatever equity in the home is left, if they have to foreclose on it, then that remaining balance will go back to that homeowner. And rightfully so, it should. You don't inherit equity in a house. Now, you can do an appraisal and get the valuation of the home, but it's not going to be automatic equity in the home because that equity belongs to the actual homeowner that accrued the equity. You don't. That's not something that goes with a house when you buy a home in any other situation. So for her to say that is so fantastical, is stupid. Girl, you're breaking my brain. It's nonsense you say. All right, so the appraisal, low appraisal. Okay, so basically, home's been foreclosed on, and they don't want this stuff sitting on the books. And if you get a home for $1, that's a complete, and we already went over this, indication that this house has been sitting for at least 6 months. They're trying to get rid of it. Probably why they want to sell it for $1. They know it has no value. It's no equity in it. It's not that, well, it has little to no value, but the valuation that they have to do it, it kind of undercuts whatever profit they could make by selling it for $1. So, of course, they're going to try to take whatever they can. It'll be made more so the difference of the profits that they would receive in a normal sale minus what they do receive when they do sell it to either HUD or FHA or whatever for that dollar initiative. So understand, this is coming from the mortgage company transitioning it over to a government agency here. By the time it reaches the FHA, the highest value is going to be $25,000, and it has to be there for 6 months for it to be $1. But it will not have equity. It will not have equity. None. Zero. All right. So the appraisal is going to be, okay, the bank said, you know what? We got to get it down to, it can't be more than $25,000. So that low appraisal means, okay, I could probably sell this if it's decent for $100,000. But if it doesn't get sold and it's 6 months sitting there, okay, now I have to take a huge $75,000 cut just to get it down to the $75,000 value when after 6 months it's ready to be sold for $1. So they're going to take that profit cut off the top. And that's going to come out of that equity as well. So that's kind of like and I'm just giving a full overview of it If you want to know more about these, different methods to how they take out equity before they allow this house to be sold for $1, then, feel free to go on. This is Experian website. But there are a lot of, Investopedia is a good website. There are a lot of, information out there. Any of the credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, all of that information is easily, accessible if you Google and read and get a breakdown. If you don't understand, call a bank or a mortgage company. Ask them, kind of the process so that you can have a better understanding before you go out and buy a house for $1. All right. And then, of course, the homeowner's insurance. Yeah, homeowner's insurance on it. The insurance company, they're going to want whatever you had that you owe, just to basically the equity is going to help pay off any and all balances and all debt, fees, and costs associated with this home, not only going through the foreclosure process, but recover whatever funds that weren't being submitted over to the bank or the mortgage company through your mortgage payments. So that's kind of like the 5 good ways of how you can end up having less equity given to you as the homeowner. But when you go buy the house for $1 through HUD, it's not going to have a dime of equity in it. None. Let's say after all these 5 things have been done and there's $10,000 left, well, that's going to go to the homeowner. So you still won't get it. That's the point. All right, moving on. Okay. So I want to draw your attention to this AP board packet ledger. I call it a general ledger, but I think it's more so commonly known as some sort of warrant list. But it's a general ledger. And one of the things the super said, because she says a lot of things, even when no one wants her to, is that you get this home for $1. She lied completely about the equity part because reasons. But she said also, you get the house, you're going to have to fix it up and renovate it. Right? Because, she's the one to talk when she's gotten her mother's driveway paid for $400,000 damn dollars. Or is willing to spend an excessive amount of money on trees. So we're going to kind of go through this, and I highlighted a few because one of the things that, and this is my theory time. This $1 home initiative program is not necessarily all about someone getting a home for $1 under the false pretenses that there's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity in the home. But this is my theory. In my opinion, seems to be the bigger picture here of having all of these construction vendors, all of these contractors come in and be able to snatch up more of these contracts. Because you get a house for $1, you might be missing a whole wall. You probably going to have to almost rebuild the foundation of that house, okay? It's already going to be devalued to $25,000 and not a penny more over that. More than likely, you're definitely going to need to get like major renovations done. And I'm talking about like water pipes and electricity and a roof. You're going to need all of that. What if there were some contractors and vendors, especially ones that are on this list, that somehow gets this big boost of business because everybody's buying $1 house. Not reading the stipulations or anything or whatever, but just let's say you get 20 houses sold for $1. 20 people are going to need to have contractors come out and renovate that damn house. So I went through this AP list. This is a part of an exhibit for a court document. And I'm kind of like skipping around with this court document because I just want to kind of get to the next thing, which was the bank fraud, check fraud accusation from Dum Dum and her weird as seeming to be incompetent attorney right now. He's just like crossing the line all over the board. But it's the bank check fraud thing is kind of going to come out in this too. But here's the thing. If she has contracts and vendors that they're already paying that's on his AP list, what if this is a way to help them get more business? Especially with the same ones you always see in them town hall meetings and board meetings talking about y'all need to pay the vendors and all this other stuff. DeMarcus Squidworth, I'm talking about you. What if he was guaranteed some more contracts and some more work? What if? That's my theory. So let's go to the page. You guys can see here. And I'm going to try to go as slow as I can, maybe, so that you can capture this information if you want, because this is information that needs to be made known to the public, especially if it landed in a court docket as a part of an exhibit, and these court documents are available to the public either way. So, yep, I'm showing it. I want to, you guys can see here, there are a lot of contractors on here. And I'm not saying that the, board of trustees approve of all of these, but there are a lot on here. And my theory would be this dollar home initiative thing is still going to bite you in the ass, because now you got to pay all these contractors and all of these vendors to come out and fix that house up, unless you know how to DIY. I mean, if you can, God bless you. But if you can't, you're going to need a lot of contractors, which is exactly what Super Stupid said. You're going to need them. And she might just know the right people for the job. So let's take a look at this. We're scrolling over. I just need to go a little faster. Okay. 5-star. Huge contractor here. And look how much money. Look how much money they've been paid. This is just on this page here. There's another page of 5-star. But I want to draw your attention down here to these weird ass huge payments here that don't seem to really line up with the other payments. Now, it could be for maybe salary for the labor, but because it doesn't specify that, who the hell knows, right? You just see a $70,000 payment out of nowhere for December 1st, 2022, along with another payment right above it for $83.50 for the same date. One is for concrete repair, replace. Another one just says, it's so generic. The highlighted yellow. 1447-55-42-597 concrete. That's it. That's all it says. 12/1/2022, $70,000. But when you're looking at this information, and I say this speaking from a financial and accounting stance, as an analyst, what we're, able to do is find data trending, to do some sort of analysis on the data and to, see what's trending with it. And anything that could be considered abnormal is what we typically would pull out and ask and inquire about more. So when you're looking at a general ledger or warrant list or whatever, you don't have any information that gives you an idea of why there's such a fluke in the numbers. Because we're going on what's trending now. You expect some of these amounts, like they got 1 to 2 to 3,000. You got a couple 18,750 in here. One, you got another 19,500 at the top. But that's for rink slab build out huts. And that seems like for that skating rink. So they got paid $19,500. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong about the rink slab. But it would be like the most logical thing to kind of assume that it's related to that skating rink. But I don't know. Maybe it's a type of slab. I don't know. But either way, even the 19.5 is, you see another amount around that same number for the 18,750 here. Removed wood chips and logs. Okay. That could be labor. That could be just, this is higher because we had to pay 10 people. So that could be the case. But what we look at is an abnormality. Something that's not trending, and it sticks out like a sore thumb here. $70,000 that was given to them on the same day that they did concrete repair replace for $83.50. And this is the first page at the bottom. I highlighted in yellow. Then we go to the next. I mean, I told you all, the whole pages are just 5-star. This is the second one. Second page of 5-star. So once again, when I'm looking at this information, I'm looking to see what stands out. And you have $114,500 paid out on September 22nd for concrete repair replace. My question is, what makes this concrete repair and replace any different from the concrete repair and replace down at the bottom under 12/1/2022 for $83.50? This is what happens when certain things are just not detailed, and you're trying to, what would really help you understand is looking at the itemized invoice. But if there's no itemized invoice, or if the itemized invoice is very vague in description, there's no summary or progress notes to show what the, vendors are doing and what phase they are to completion. None of that. It's just, these columns here that just basically show a transaction, but it doesn't say exactly what for, nor did any, in itemized detailed invoices get submitted to even justify this. But you guys can see this clearly now. These are flukes to me because they're not trending around the same amount. This is $114,500. Why is it not $83.50 like on the first page? Then you have the sewer repairs, $35,000. Then you have concrete removal again on 8/24, $80,500. So the date's not really, and I mean, this is part of court documents as an exhibit, so there's no way to filter, to sort from smallest to larger by date. I mean, I would rather this be sorted by date here, but whatever. $80,500 for, once again, concrete removal. Then you have another concrete removal for $108,750. Then you have another one right underneath that on the same day now. See the date, 9/14/22. You get another $108,750. So they're both $28.65. So my question is, what the hell is going on? Why is this charge on here almost is duplicate? And why wasn't one removed? Or at least show a deduction to, at least indicate that this was maybe a duplicate and we just removed one, but it didn't seem that way. So these are just some weird flukes out of nowhere that would not, that would raise a lot of eyebrows. If I had to do a data trending on this data, I would literally be like, what the hell is this? What happened for this to be 6 figures or close to it? Then, of course, you have this total up here for $922,185. All for some damn concrete. But I guarantee you buy that home for $1. And let's say you want to get some vendors and contractors out. K5 is going to charge a whole lot of damn money to do this. $922,000, and that's just with one vendor. Are they the only ones that can be found to do some concrete removal? Seriously? I mean, the thought of super stupid paying $400,000 to have her mother's driveway repaid brings up all the unethical questions you can think of. And use taxpayers' dollars to do it without the board approval, just to add insult to injury. But okay, you got this amount here for 5-star. That's just 5-star. Let's keep going. You guys can see any other vendors on here. K&M Ventures is another more like construction company service. I mean, they got a $117,800 bill down there. So, Oh, Lord, have mercy. All the money has been spent out on this stuff. I'm still curious to know exactly how you're going to bring revenue in, Jason House. And it's not to actually be funny. You really have, you got to have an idea. Because this is crazy. Some of these dang on vendors need to be released. But let's take a look at this. Now, as you can see, highlighted in orange, Oak Construction Company, Inc. They've gotten $78,759.3. And this is one of those companies that, and I'm going to show you, that was not approved to get payment. And yet, Dum Dum who wants Gum Gum decided to just write the check anyway. So let's get to it. Okay, here's one. And this label, you guys see at the bottom, Exhibit G, because it accompanies that court document we're going to get back to in a second. But this is sideways, and I just couldn't twist it around. And I wanted to go ahead and do my video before I get ready for work tomorrow. Yay! But as you can see here, not much detail in this. Not much information that's being provided. And there's a $5,000 payment on this. Old construction. So this is one of the second one. Here is the second one. That was a part of the court documents. And you guys can see another $5,000. And I'm like, what the hell? But it wasn't approved. So here's a check. This is for $2,000. Here's one of these checks that she failed to get the clerk's signature on. And we're going to get to that in a minute as well. This is what I'm saying. You got vendors and contractors that she's willing to sit and violate state statutes and local ordinances to sign a damn check by herself without Clerk Key's signature on it. This is one of the many she wrote. And I'm going to go over why in a second. But you can see this was not approved. This would not have been approved because the second signature is missing. And that's part of the checks and balance in making sure there's nothing weird going on. You have two people on here that can sign checks as signatories. That way, one do something dumb, maybe the other one to be ethical enough to catch it and call her ass out. But this wasn't approved. And guess what happened? It was cash. Even with just her signature. It was cash. Why is that, Lady Luck? Well, I'm going to get to that. We're going to get to it. But here's the back of the check because, people need to know, even though I don't know what this is proving. You saw the invoice. It was garbage. There was no progress notes to show, how the construction or anything going on with the sidewalks, how it's progressing and how much money you still have left and budgeted for and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know how, thorough the RFP process is up there, giving vendors and contractors the opportunity to put in a bid to get a contract with the government, whether it be federal, state, or local. So if it's not really competitive and she is just giving her goons all this business to get paid all this stupid money, then how are you fairly allowing others to be able to compete? Well, you don't. But here's the back of the check for those that just need to see it. And their bank is Forest Park National Bank. I've never heard of that bank. Forest Park National Bank in Forest Park, Illinois. And as you all can see, you have, proof that it was deposited. Good grief. Here's another amount for $5,000. What's the date on this? 10/7. 10/7. So, okay, help me understand this. You know what? I know why. Why these checks are broken up on the same day. Because an ordinance that needs to be changed basically says you can write out a check that needs 2 signatures without it going through the approval process if it's less than, I think, $5,000. So in an effort to avoid having to go through the board, she just basically took it upon herself to try to break down the amounts, which is very deceptive, in my opinion. Very deceptive and misleading. You're trying to find a way to go around ordinances when you could just do the right thing and get a second signature. Super stupid. It's dumb. It's obvious that you're trying to go around that ordinance that says basically you still need 2 signatures on this check. And if it's $5,000 or less, may not need board approval. But when you're doing stupid shit like this, everything she does should have a board approval. That's how I see it. Because she still broke the law when she failed to get a second signature on the check. And yet, it was cashed. And I'm going to go over why. But obviously, this is an attempt to be able to kind of curtail that process. And at the end of the day, the whole point of her being removed from the account eventually is to keep her from doing stupid shit like this. No regard for the law, no regard for the power that the board has, because if she vetoes, they can override her veto. We have 3 branches of government now. And you have that executive and that legislative branch. And they're not subordinate to each other. They're separate but co-equal in power. So you got to give power to the board. You got to give power to the executive position here with the mayor's position. But if she vetoes something, they can override it. But how do you avoid them even doing that? By just simply trying to undercut it by keeping the amount less than $5,000. And it's so rudimentary. It's like, you really think nobody will be able to put that 2 and 2 together? Seriously? Come on now. So here's another amount. $5,000. So you guys can see that these are different checks because look at the check number. 83617, 83616, 83615. So this is, look at the check numbers. Intentionally writing 3 separate checks, all under $5,000 or less, with no clerk key signature on it. And she did it on 3 checks. You would think like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this by the first check. No. And I'm sure she didn't even feel anything about this. This is why you're going to prison. This is why you're going to prison. All right. 83615 for 2,000. 83616 for 5,000. 83617 for 5,000. And I want you all to pay attention to the date. This is 10/7/2022 for the check date. So pay attention now. We're going to get to it. Did I tell you all how much I like court documents? Because, it's awesome. So here's a complaint from the board, as well as the village clerk, against Dum Dum, because she's hard-headed and she doesn't care about laws. So they basically filed a complaint because she was writing checks and leaving out the clerk. And then, of course, more to come. Hold your britches. This is the highlighted orange you see here are state statutes. So when someone is saying, what law did she break? Prove it. Tell them, go watch Lady Luck Club's damn video and you can see statute codes and ordinances highlighted in a court document that shows proof that she violated state statutes and local ordinances. Still called laws. At what point did she become above the rule of law again? And why is it something that people have to prove when you can read court documents? It's ridiculous. It's the same old tired nonsense. And people just, these super goons, even the ones that say they don't like her and they don't want her to win, they still sitting talking about prove it. What are you defending here? Is my question. Who the hell are you defending? First of all, who the hell are you talking to? Hell, you talking to? But why are you asking for someone to prove something to you as if we're in court? Because that's not how this works. It's not how it works. But if you want to see how, go to these court documents. And it outlines the statutes, case law, ordinances, process, court rulings, all these things in these court documents. So if I say she's a criminal and she broke the law, I can point to court documents that expresses not only the statute, codes, and ordinances, but explains exactly how she broke the law. And some of this is straightforward. I mean, if you're breaking the law itself is going to be clearly defined. But if you're breaking the law, that's still a crime. So his law is being broken. All right? And I implore you all to just Google the codes and make sure you read and understand that. Now, that way, when you read in these court documents, you can see, oh, yeah, that law did say that. Most times you're going to cite it, but still, be knowledgeable of it so you can understand what you're reading. Child. More state statutes are highlighted so you all can see more laws broken. Now, I wanted to get to this point here at number 14. The mayor has no independent power to issue or refuse to make payments without approval by the village board. Instead, all expenditures must first be approved by the village board. And if the mayor does not veto the action or the board overrides the veto, the approval of the payment becomes effective. This is section 3.1-40-45 of the Illinois Municipal Code. So here's a damn law. And her signing a check with just her signature violated the state statutes and ordinances regarding the requirement of having two signatures on the check. And the legislative body has the right to pass and amend laws. And since it's a local level government, it will be considered those local ordinances. They have the right to pass these ordinances here, as long as it does not contradict with state law or even federal law. So if nothing else, it should be using state and federal laws as a foundation to build on to ensure you're not creating unlawful ordinances. So the fact that she really thinks that she gets to just do what she wants is hilarious. Yeah, boy. All right. So here are two other points I wanted to highlight. During 2021 and 22, defendant used a stamp containing the clerk's signature without the clerk's permission to issue checks for payments not approved by the village board. And they have EX.F, that's exhibit. They're just, when you see that, that's an exhibit. But you didn't get approval from the board. You signed a check with no signature from the clerk. And then you turn around and use the stamp. You can make this shit up if you wanted to. I could not make this shit up if I wanted to, no matter how hard I tried. This is god awful. Yeah, there's another law broken for all those that feel like they need somebody to prove a point. Because I'm epic at that. I'll prove a point in a minute. Please don't challenge me with a good time. Come on now. But use the stamp containing the clerk's signature, which is what, children? Forgery. Oh, yes. That is absolute forgery. So she wants to sit here and talk about Jason House with some check and bank fraud. She did exactly that. The check he wrote, he was legally authorized to write it. And I'm going to get to that point. But she used a stamp of a signature that belonged to someone else to sign this check to get it cashed. And to send it out to whomever without the board approval. It's insane. So, okay. In 2022, defendant also issued checks containing only her signature for payments not approved by the village board. Just breaking laws all over the place. And I wanted to kind of give a heads up with these little, if you guys look at the top, this highlighted too. That's basically kind of like an indicator to look at the footnote. That way you can understand exactly when it says, the trustee passed ordinance 22-04, which provided the most senior trustee instead of the mayor, and the village clerk will sign all warrants. And then, of course, you look at the subtext down here. The village also amended this ordinance on December 14, 22. But the amendment did not change the signatories on the village warrants. So when you're reading these court documents, if you see this little indicator at the top with a number or asterisk, that means it could even be a letter. You need to look at the footnote to see exactly what that means and how it fits in this particular matter. In this particular case, with this allegation. You don't want to sit here and think, oh, well, no, that's not how it works. That is exactly how it works. So this is why court documents don't lie. They just don't lie. Now, people lie in court documents, but it just kind of reveals what's on paper. But either way, the village amended or changed the signatories. So here's where we get to the point where she was removed, why she was removed off the bank account. All right, number 27. Additionally, Clerk Key was advised by a representative of Fifth Third Bank, the banking institution used by the village, that Clerk Key's name has been removed from the village's bank accounts and other individuals were added to the account, which violates Resolution 21-009. And this is a resolution. I'm going to go over the differences between a resolution and a ordinance. But this is a resolution because she kept doing dumb shit. They didn't have a choice. So they went to court. This is under the complaint here. They show exactly which laws are broken or the ordinance and give an example of how. They state specifically how it was violated. She had her name removed. So, I'm sure she may have been added on again. But once upon a time, she was removed. So the bank statements that everyone keeps saying she could get, she can't get it if she's not an authorized user or an account holder. So even so, we all know Super Stupid is not going to produce that stuff. And then it's going to force the FBI to have to get a subpoena for it. But the clerk could not get it during the time she was removed either. And even if she's added back on, she can't call them and say, listen, can you all send me those bank statements and all of that, to see what's going on? If that be the case, it would have to be a request made. But what she could not do at the time is call the bank after she had been removed. And she didn't even know. Super Stupid didn't even tell anybody what she was doing. So this is insanity. And of course, they have this other individuals. I'm curious to know who the hell these other individuals are. I really am. Who are the other individuals? Because if I find out it's Kamal or Squidworth, I'm going to have a whole fit. I'm going to throw the biggest shade of a video and just ether this girl. If she put them idiots on that account. This is the stuff that she's bold enough to do, and people wonder why I refuse to show. I don't owe her respect. I have none for her. But this is why. You not only use a stamp of someone as a signature illegally, which is check fraud in and of itself, and forgery. You should not have taken those checks to the bank. It did not meet the ordinances, state statutes that you're bound to uphold. And you did all this nonsense behind their back. And you want me to sit here and humanize you? Girl, please, kick rocks. So there's other individuals that were added when she removed Clerk Key. Question is, too, how the hell do you get to just remove someone without the consent of the other signatory added to that account? What did she tell that damn bank to get Clerk Key removed? Because, if they have it on file, let's just assume they have something on file that 2 signatures are required from both signatory for any check from this account related to the village of Dalton. Let's say they had that. Someone still cashed this damn check. Someone still let this check go through at Fifth Third Bank as well. Now, can they predict and assume when this stuff is going to happen? No, they can't. But whatever measures they have in place to investigate and to do a thorough, check on seeing what's going on here, if they have something indicating that 2 signatories are required, I mean, why? I don't understand. Why in the world would they? What are they going to do other than do an investigation? But if she went there and took her off the bank, off the account to be a signatory, and super stupid put other people on it, now you have other people that are just as culpable. So those other people could easily be subpoenaed in order to turn over any documents to figure out why the hell y'all were added to this account. They could easily interrogate them. So her stupidity is going to get a whole lot of other people messed up as well. But if they're dumb enough to do it, then whatever. Y'all super goons are just hilarious. The defendant has also caused the trustees access to financial information to be restricted, including but not limited to restricting the trustees' access to online financial data to review receipts for invoices needing approval by the board for payment, failing to provide the trustees with receipts and invoices for items needing approval by the board for payment, failing to provide the trustees with payroll reports, thereby preventing the board members from properly determining whether all proposed payroll requests should be approved. They have to have this stuff presented to them to be able to vote on it and to determine whether it should be approved. This is all the stuff being stated in a court document here. This is why I would prefer to read court documents. Because you can't just strictly rely on news, and you can't rely on YouTubers that aren't putting forth this type of information. The best way to really find out what's going on, you got to expand your horizon and read other things. So when people saying prove it, what law she broke. Yeah, here it is. Whole damn pleading. Failing to provide the trustees with credit card statements for accounts that include expenditures made by the defendant since on or about May 23, thereby preventing the board members from properly determining whether all expenditures should be approved. Failing to provide the trustees' monthly financial reports. Failing to provide the trustees' banking statements. Failing to provide the trustees the budget ordinance. And when they say failing to provide the banking statements, once again, she removed the village clerk off the account by this point. She removed her. So the clerk could not get that stuff. I don't even know if I'm going to make sure. I'm not even sure if she actually has been added on again or not. But either way, let's assume she's not added. She can't get anything. But this is the thing. If no one is, especially all these people that keep saying, well, clerk, he can get it. If she's not on it as a signatory and no one's questioning why the hell was super stupid able to go to a bank and take her off, then, I mean, this is, how is she supposed to get anything? So, who child? We all know she did not provide financial reports or budgets or anything. She failed to provide the trustees the budget ordinance, failing to provide the trustees property tax levy documentation, thereby preventing the board members from properly determining what amount should be levied by the village, and preventing the trustees from viewing village account information, thereby preventing the trustees from knowing how village funds are being spent. So basically, even with the property tax, first of all, she wasn't even there for that damn vote. She tried to remove herself out of a situation she knows is going to really make her look like the idiot that she is. But at the end of the day, if they don't know exactly how they should be raising taxes or how much they should raise it by, when she was supposed to provide the tax levy documentation, because now, mind you, she's already kicked the clerk off the bank account. So that means she didn't submit over any bank statements. She had a credit card in her name where she went behind the board's back and increased the limit, which is also illegal. She did all this stuff. And yet people wonder, this is why she had to be removed from the account. Because now she's intentionally and willfully violating the ordinances, resolutions, state statutes, and any other law that applies to this. This is why. She had no authority to remove the clerk off of a bank account as a signatory. None. So this is, it baffles me to hear people say, well, laws, prove it. Okay. They raised your taxes. No, they didn't. How is that supposed to happen if you don't give them the tax levy documentation? And yes, we all know she withholds information because she knows most of it is going to make her look like a real hardcore criminal. Just enjoy that damn orange jumpsuit. Your orange is your new black. Child. The actions of the defendants as set forth in the above paragraph prevent the plaintiff trustees from fulfilling their statutory duties to control the finances of the corporation and appropriate for and pay the debts and expenses of the village. More damn laws cited. 65 ILCS 5/8-1-1 and 65 ILCS 5/81-2. These are two state statutes. This is how Illinois cites its state statutes. So this is state law. Not just an ordinance. State law. And if people are going to keep giving her a pass and try to defend and make excuses, then why the hell do we have laws? This is insane. She literally thinks she just do what she wants. Nope. No one told you to be a narcissist. No one told her to do this. No one told her, to take the clerk's name off the account as a signatory. That has nothing to do with the trustees. So if thou has a brain, I would think most people would agree to that. She did this by her damn self and then added other individuals on the account. Well, I would love to know who they are. All right. So this is kind of the, basic reasoning as to why she was rightfully so removed, because she's breaking laws and it doesn't make sense. So y'all can see number 33, Plaintiff Key, that's the village clerk, has the ascertainable right to sign all warrants to ensure that they are lawfully approved by the village board of trustees and view the village bank account information. Like I said, if she got removed off, she would not be able to get those bank statements. I'm assuming, I haven't even looked up whether or not she actually was added back. But yeah, this is the reason why it's fundamental to read. This is why, because you get people saying dumb things and they don't have any validity to that because they're not reading the documentation they should be reading to help them understand. So yeah, I guess I'll just do it for you. Okay. This last page here, and this is all I'm going to pretty much read from this court document, but because I want to get to the next topic of discussion here. So it says here, and this is just beautifully written: the material benefits to the plaintiffs from granting them the injunction relief that they request include allowing the plaintiffs to perform their statutory duties as elected trustees of the village and ensuring that the village funds are properly spent. Defendant has no right to violate the law, prevent the trustees or clerk from performing their duties, or to use village funds as she solely determines, because she doesn't. Her position represents 1/3 of government. And I say this a lot in my videos so that people can understand why hating the trustees is stupid. And I just have no respect for super stupid. But at the end of the day, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why people are irritated and angry and upset. Blaming things on trustees in every scenario is absolutely false. Not when court documents show otherwise. So it's absolutely deplorable to see him try to rope in the trustees on every little thing. Now, in the event that they do something wrong or violate the law, guess what? You can go to them about it. Maybe they just need to be informed that they didn't do the right thing. I don't know. But as equally as I would get on them, I'm getting on her And they're not the ones removing people off of a bank account. They're not the ones adding other individuals to a bank account that belongs to the village of Dalton. The board of trustees is not doing that. Nor are they forcing her dumbass to do it. She's doing this on her own accord. So that the intent is already there. Because she did it over and over and over again. So this is insanity. Insanity. You can't make this shit up. Oh, God. Okay. So, of course, the counts that they have, a mandamus, of course, is just basically asking the court to enforce something. Whether it be an order or law or ordinance or whatever, you're basically saying, can we get an order of mandamus to get her to do this? So if she violates it, now we're going to file a motion for contempt. So, yeah. I want to make sure this is pretty much when I highlighted. They have a lot of counts. This was well written. Well done. Then you have the verification that goes with the complaint. Max Solomon, since you act like you don't understand that. Here's the ordinance here regarding approval and veto of ordinances, resolutions, and motions. And then you see the resolutions and motions, all resolutions or motions which create any liability against the village or which provide for the expenditure or appropriation of the village's money or to sell any village property passed by the board of trustees shall be deposited with the village clerk. So, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. You guys can read the rest, but this is the issue here. You have multiple laws and state law, local ordinances, resolutions that basically are saying the same thing about the trustees having the power to do what they want to do, the village clerk, as well as applicable law when it comes to a damn signature. So she gets to do forgery and all of a sudden people are supposed to overlook that because that's forgery. That could also be check fraud. You're signing checks for someone that's a signature or a stamp on it without their approval, and you're not authorized to do that on your own accord. No, you are not. So we're going to overlook this forgery going on here, plus all the other laws and stuff being violated. Okay. So as you guys can see, there are exhibits here. This is the resolution 2100-009. This is going back to May 12th of 2021. And I'm sure that was right around the time she was sworn in. So as you guys can see, the authorized users would be both super stupid and the village clerk. Any prior signatories or individuals authorized are hereby removed from the accounts, and prior authorization is hereby revoked because now you have someone else in this position. You can't have other people who are no longer mayors sitting on this account here. So they have to make sure all others are removed. Plus, it helps with checks and balance. You don't want, especially in this situation because you're dealing with super stupid. She should not have unfettered, unchecked power. It's not absolute for her. No more than the trustees should have absolute power. They work in tandem. So they did the right thing by filing this motion for injunctive relief. They did the right thing. And you guys can see what laws were broken and how heinous it is. Because what if she used that signature stamp to do something that really could come back and harm her? And not just her, it would affect the village clerk. So she doesn't even care if she's getting people in trouble. Come on now. Come on now. You guys can read this information here on that ordinance. Here's a summary judgment that she filed against them that basically reiterated the ordinance itself, having to rely on state law. And because, you're talking about facts are facts and laws are laws, certain things are just not arguable or debatable. It's no debate what the law states. And if you don't understand it, then you go to case law and read, case law so you can understand precedents that's already been set. So she was granted the order to ensure that they do not write ordinances that goes against state law itself. Can't negate it. But they found a way to work around that. Yay. So you guys can see that there, Exhibit D. Okay. Here are some meeting minutes. And this was June 6, 2022. And I highlighted this under the general announcements. You can see Trustee Brown, Municipal Code, and this is what he's stating in the meeting. 65 ILCS 5/6-4-7 states that only the Legislative Council can create laws. You all see that. It's right there. The Legislative Council can create laws. The legislative body is the Board of Trustees. So, yep. I don't understand why this stuff is not available to the public. I mean, it took an act. It took me to have to get a court document to even see these meeting minutes. For the whole notion of, well, she hasn't produced meeting minutes in a while and this, that, and the third. Clearly they exist. They just need to be posted and made available to the public. And if they don't have access to the systems to do that, Clerk Key, you can send the meeting minutes to YouTubers and we'll put it out. I know I will. Email me at LadyLuckClubLLC@yahoo.com. I have no problem posting meeting minutes if I need to. But that is something that the public should be able to access and see for themselves. And if there's any sensitive information or whatever, you guys don't, for whatever reason, you can always have some of that redacted. But it should be available nonetheless. So here is some more meeting minutes. And this is August 1 of 22. And I highlighted the committee reports at the bottom. You see Finance and Trustee House stated he made several attempts to schedule an in-person Finance Committee meeting to no avail. July 23, 22, a special board meeting was held via Zoom because of no access to the Village Hall. So this is at the point where Super Stupid goes full-blown dumb. She locked them out of the town hall. And that can also be proven with videos. It made the news. She does not have the authority to lock out the Board of Trustees from having a meeting. But yet and still, she wants to talk about people missing meetings. Girl, if you don't kick rocks with that hypocrisy. It says here, this was a legal and proper meeting. The meeting and prayer documentation regarding the special board meeting were forwarded to Attorney Delgado, who is just awful at this point. He's going through all these predominantly black neighborhoods up there in Thornton and Dalton, racking up attorney's fees. Because I've heard now he's the attorney for the school board. Why do you all keep hiring him? I mean, is there no one else? So I just, at this point, it's easy to see that he's doing this to try to get in as much money as he can. He's milking it. But you're milking it from communities that are predominantly black. So unless someone kind of gets some balls in the spine and just say, hey, you got to get out of here. He's just hemorrhaging money into his wallet, representing everybody and charging all these damn astronomical attorney's fees. Why is he over there in the school board again? Okay. Oh, God. The deadline to file the budgeting request and extension was July 31, 22. Budget was properly passed, so they had to meet a deadline. Why would she not want them to meet a deadline and then lock them out of the town hall? That floors me. You're getting mad because people having meetings, but yet you lock them out of town hall because your dumbass goons just somehow have selective amnesia, and these weirdos just remember what the hell they want to remember. And you try to get them to read something. No, that's too much like that. I can't make this up. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so they just kind of go through all the other information. So as you all can see here at the bottom with new business, They have ordinance number, and then the premise of this is to have an ordinance amending the Dalton Village Code regarding signature requirements on warrants. So once again, they brought up this concern in the meeting to try to do this the right way so that they're not, doing something that goes against state law. And they couldn't even have a meeting there, so they had to do a Zoom and then go somewhere else to a separate meeting. And that was the Dalton Park District. Makes no sense. Nothing she does make sense. So I just want you all to see this. This is an email from Jason House about the items, the invoices that were already approved to be paid that Super Stupid did not pay or ensure that it was paid. And yes, she does bear the responsibility. You want to be the boss? Then you got to deal with all the issues that come with it. No one told you to be a mayor. No one. All right. Now, here's the special meeting that she sued Dalton Park District over. Right here. You guys see this meeting minutes. This is the Dalton Park District Scout Building. And this was Wednesday, December 14, 22. Basically, this is the meeting where they had to appoint Trustee House as Mayor Pro Tem in Super Stupid's absence because she had locked everybody out of town hall and just decided I'm not going to do anything because, I can't have my way and I'm throwing a tantrum. And they appointed him as the Mayor Pro Tem with the majority vote. So if she wasn't there to facilitate meetings, it would not have led to a point where, or at least, made sure that the meetings were open and accessible for the public even. How can you sit here and talk about somebody raising property taxes and all this other stuff when you failed to go to the meetings to at least veto it? To be able to get comments on why you're not in agreement with it. Well, when you MIA for months and missing all these meetings, you don't have any standing to complain about that. So the lawsuit she had filed against the Dalton Park District and the Board of Trustees was dismissed. Rightfully so. No one can force her to go to a meeting, but go to court and then cry about, they didn't tell me about it. Heifer, you didn't come to the last 3 or 4 we had. We'll go kiss my ass and kick rocks. Yeah, just sitting here talking about they didn't invite me. And they filed a lawsuit and the judge that's the same hearing that's on my channel where the judge severely reprimanded Max Solomon. Rightfully so. So that was that court hearing related to the lawsuit she filed because of this board meeting here at the Dalton Park District. Simply because Jason House was appointed as the Mayor Pro Tem. So if she would have showed up, there would be no need for it. But she didn't. And business needed to be conducted. And it's rather dumb to sit here and file a lawsuit against the board and anyone else having a meeting to which they have the right to do. I mean, hell, they have the right under the Constitution to assemble. And I know I said that in one of my previous videos. If you guys can't have a meeting at the town hall, go to a church, go to a different location. As long as it's posted up and made known ahead of time based on what the ordinance and law states. The judge told them in that hearing, you can have a meeting wherever you want that would be appropriate in having the space to accommodate, the people in the community. They have the right to see and observe what their government is doing and how they're doing the business of the people. That came from the judge's mouth. Not mine, the judge. And then he severely reprimanded Solomon for just being incompetent. And then oh, God. And then he made it clear. You don't have the right to impede upon that. None. If you guys check that video out, you'll hear the whole hearing. And she didn't say one word. Not one. So, under general announcements, Mayor Pro Tem House, the reason we called this meeting, we felt that several times several items were important to be placed on the agenda and voted upon. Previous meetings, these items, along with other items, have been requested from the mayor to add them to the agenda. They have not been placed for various reasons. Because she's throwing a tantrum. We always receive a ration. I'm assuming there's supposed to be a rationale. But it ultimately feels like a runaround to get these items on the agenda. As a board, these are items that we would like to bring to the community to move forward. Other items are a matter of ongoing litigation that we feel we need to pass. I want to make sure that residents know about mortgage assistance application that is being done through neighborhood services. This Saturday, there will be a mortgage assistance for individuals up to $60,000. Woo, child. Is it too late for me to add my name to the list? $60,000. Just add me on there. We'll see what happens. Good grief. Good job. All right. So you can see here the discussion approval of ordinance number 22 dash. And of course, I don't know why that's not in there. But either way, amending the Dalton Village Code regarding signature requirements on warrants. And this is where you get to the crux of her being removed. Because there's no reason to give you access to an account when you're going to the bank, taking people off, and then adding others, whoever they are. He also had discussion on the approval of ordinance establishing a village credit card policy. Woo! That's something she had a fit. What's that? Dalton or Thornton? Had a fit. Please don't give me the credit cards. Please do not give me the credit cards. I don't know. You crying around talking about you want it. Here you go. Keep on doing dumb things and we'll make sure we have that as well to hand over to the FBI. Good grief. So they had to do that and handle with the credit cards. Because she had a credit card. She raised the limit behind their back without the board approval and never provided credit card statements. So, no, that would be something she would have to get because she was the only person on the credit card. Once again, if the clerk could get this stuff, she would have. But when you have this super moron locking people out, taking away access for my viewpoint, taking people off a bank account, and still failing to have two signatures on it, I mean, what more do you need to say she should not have access to a bank account? Period. So rightfully so, she got removed. Rightfully so. And I'm going to go over that, what happened with that in a minute. All right. You guys can see it is here. I'm just kind of scrolling through. Take a look at this. Let's go back. Hold on. So here are the meeting minutes from February 6, 23. If you guys scroll over. Well, I scroll over. You see at the bottom there? What I highlighted? That's Oak Construction. Motion by he who will not be named Lady Luck Club to add Crawford Door Sales and WSI Technologies back into the warrant list. No second. Motion failed. Look at all of these vendors. But what you will see from the checks I showed earlier, the 3 checks that she tried to break down to keep from being approved, it was for Oak Construction. And they're on this list. I can only imagine the people that she probably promised a lot of business to, realizing that their hopes and dreams about to be utterly shattered. And I'm here for it. I am here for it. Okay. Woo, this is interesting. Here's another meeting minute from March 6, 23. And she get an attitude because somebody got assigned as mayor pro tem because she didn't want to come to a damn meeting and then lock the town hall. Laughable. I'm just trying to scroll through. If you guys want to be able to, maybe do a screenshot or something like that, you're going to have to either run the video slow, like change the playback speed to something like really so like the lowest you can get it. Or you can just pause the video and take screenshot and use it however you want. But the information's here. It'll be available in the video for you all to use. And of course, we're going back to this AP ledger. Yeah. Okay, so this is 170 some pages long. If anybody wants to get a copy of it and report on it, let me know. I'll, just email it to you. Because this is something else. Maybe others can kind of dive into more of the AP ledger. But yeah, it's a lot of reading. Okay. So as you all can see, this is the same $561,000 check here, right? To K5 Construction Corp. This is one of the many examples where she violated the law. We already saw the 3 Oak construction checks with no secondary signature after being so audacious to remove someone off the account. Now you see this big ass check here, to which I haven't found the back of the check yet, but once again, I mean, it has no value unless you have an itemized invoice with it so that you can see how this money was spent here with this particular vendor. They didn't even offer progress notes. I mean, can you even justify that they're doing a job? Seriously. So once again, this $561,000 check comes up because she's hard-headed. Okay, before I forget, this is another exhibit inside of the that court document, but this is an itemized statement or invoice. This is an itemized invoice, just so people can understand when I say detail. You can clearly see that this is for these fleet vehicles or whatnot, for the police cars. And of course, if you look at the top, what you'll see is a VIN number, a VIN. So when it comes down to which truck's getting what service and from where, the invoices must have some identifier to differentiate what car you're servicing. Because it's not all of them at the same time. But you have VIN in place to ensure you can identify their specific vehicle, because every vehicle, if it's done the right way, has its own VIN. So the VIN is kind of like that identifier. So this is an example of what I keep saying about an invoice. I mean, it's well done. You have this description, the operation, type, part, everything. This isn't difficult. This could be added to that general ledger. Just add a couple columns on it and then add some additional information like a description. Sometimes those things like that help to make it more user-friendly and understandable. Look at that. Well done. Well done, invoice. It goes on point. Okay. Here's the K5 company. Just, to kind of put some faces to names and all this other stuff. Here's that K5 company that had at least 2.5 good pages of charges. No, that was 5-star. Theirs was, I think, over 6 figures, like 117,000. I mean, you can imagine when someone buys a dollar house and they need a vendor, that these people could very well be guaranteed to get that business. Now, the sad part is that it should not be that easy. Even if they doing a contract for the Village of Dalton, they still need to compete for any others. But when you don't have RFPs, I mean, I just want you all to see this team here. They're listed on the general ledger. I don't recognize these people, but maybe you all do. But if you want to, of course, get more information, you can go on their website. This is K5 Construction. All right, moving on. Okay, one last exhibit. You all can see here. This is a letter dated September 22nd, 21. Going to everybody named Mama. And Allison Key wrote this out. Said, as the village clerk, I'm responsible for countersigning all warrants for the payment of bills salaries, or any other purpose. It's Statute 1-10-5. However, all bills payable to the village must be first submitted to the president and then board of trustees for approval and vote. And then she cited more laws. Because, there are laws. They're super broke. There you go. Therefore, I cannot countersign a warrant for expenditure of the village monies if said expenditure has not been approved by the board of trustees. This is going back to 2021. So she pretty much had been doing this from the very beginning. And it just got worse over time. And honestly, if I were the board, I would have just cut off all her credit cards. I would have put a hold on all that stuff. Doing all this old weird stuff that you bringing attention to yourself and then get mad when you get the attention you deserve. Jesus Christ. All right, y'all can see that now. This has been going on for a while. Okay, I want to go over this, just kind of skim through this court document. This is the complaint where Super Stupid sued everybody named Mama and had named Stanley Brown and he who will not be named Lady Luck Club as the plaintiffs. For whatever reason, that's what she did. So she basically is trying to manipulate law to accuse someone doing something that they didn't do. The end. Now I'm going to go through it. All right. You guys can see. I'm not going to read it all. You guys can see this. Like I said, if you want to do a print screenshot or whatever to talk about on your channels, you can. No problem. Under background and facts, it's a section that most people need to read. You guys can see number 23. Now, here's the reason why she sued Dalton Park District. Because that meeting, I already showed you all the meeting minutes. That meeting that was at Dalton Park District appointed Jason House as mayor pro tem. And she was so flabbergasted by that, where she filed a lawsuit. So, of course, that was the same hearing that I have on my channel where the judge reprimanded Solomon. And then told her flat out, you can't stop nobody from having a meeting, girl. Bye. So, upon info and belief, trustees, which is the defendant's name, called the parallel meeting to be held at Dalton Park District, proposed a parallel agenda for the same, acting upon the instruction and order of defendant Jason House, the trustee mayor pro tem. And then you guys can see at the bottom, the little footnote. Trustee Jason House had been declared mayor pro tem by order of court in another case. And the case number being 2023 C as in cat, H as in hat, 10204. So there you go. It's important to read the footnotes so you can understand what they're, basically defining this to be to the court. Yeah, so he was appointed by court order, by order of the court. So how is it that he was not able to sign a check again? Oh, God, this is why I love these court documents. Someone explain to me in the comment section, how the hell is him writing a check that he was given this? It is. This is her dumbass lawsuit. And this is a fact. Basically, which means she corroborated and acknowledged the fact that he had been declared mayor pro tem by order of court in another case, 2023 CH 10204. So they're recognizing it in their complaint here. So why in the hell is she lying about him committing bank and check fraud? He had the authority to be mayor pro tem and to be added to the account as a signatory. And yes, she had to go because she's violating the law. So, I mean, really. It's just ridiculous. You cannot make this up. You can't make this up. While she's sitting here lying about him not being legally authorized to sign a check. When an order of the court gave him the power of the mayor if she's absent or incapable of even coming to the meeting. And after so much time has passed by, we need to start thinking about derelict of duties here. But this is the alternative to this. Someone had to be appointed to mayor pro tem, and that was him. So this is by order of the court. She already violates court orders, so I don't know why anyone would think differently. She for one does not care about an order or a law or anything with a court, unless it's benefiting her. She don't care any other time. So, yeah. The order of the court gave him the ability to be mayor pro tem. And you all are seeing this in court documents. Funny how it's filed by her as the plaintiff. You can't make this up. She complained about something that she acknowledged in a court document. Oh, God. Super stupid. You give us material for days. You could be clowned from now to glory. The dumb things you've done. Jesus Christ. Oh, her fake outrage is laughable. I guess I'll just show the rest of the pleading. It's not that long, so you guys can kind of see. Once again, she keeps saying the same stuff. Over and over again. It's brought to her attention that a parallel meeting called by the trustees and Jason House's mayor pro tem, something she's acknowledging again, was in fact being conducted at the Dalton Park District. No one's disputing it was done. What we're saying is we had the right to do it, the right to assemble. And you do not get to interfere with constitutional rights. And the judge definitely got on her ass about that. Yeah, it was epic. So y'all can see the rest of the pages here. They go into the count. They go into what they're asking of the court. In each count, it's 13 pages long. So if you guys want to check that out, you can. This was filed by her incompetent ass attorney Solomon. For once, he did something good. He acknowledged that Mayor Pro Tem was Jason House. Worst part is he wants to forget all other laws as if this man, Jason House, did not have the authority to sign a check. Now, Bo Burnley's goofy ass sitting here talking about, that was illegal. You're trying to insinuate check fraud while your client unlawfully used a signature stamp that belonged to Clerk Key, not your client. And she did that intentionally without any authorization. And then you put someone else's signature on something. Hell no. How is that not forgery and check fraud? Come on now. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yep. All right. Okay. So from that dumbass lawsuit she filed, here's the order. So, as I indicated, she had added on Stanley Brown and the other one. I'm not saying his name. The other one against, everybody and their mama. So, here's the order. And I'm just kind of go over some of it. You guys can still, check it out and read it, if you want to in your free time. Maybe you can read this before you go to bed. I don't know. Cause coming to be heard on plaintiff's motion for entry of a temporary restraining order. Defendant's motion for Rule 137, sanctions and plaintiff's motion to drop Trustee Stanley Brown. All parties present through counsel. The court being fully advised, it is hereby ordered. This is the one she had to have Trustee Brown removed because she put him on a complaint and probably didn't even ask him. I guess she just thought he owed her that loyalty. Maybe that's the case, Stanley Brown. Maybe after all this ass kissing you've done to Super Stupid, she just felt that you would just take her side. Maybe that's what it is. Because otherwise, I mean, people just being added to lawsuits and stuff is not something common. It's just something that she does repeatedly and stupidly. And then it backfires when the person wants to be removed. But if you had not enabled her through all her bullshit, I don't think this would have been the thing. So she only named the two that's just, I guess, in her eyes, just the most loyal. Whatever. But this is why you don't enable people. This is why you don't defend them. So he had requested to be removed off of the petition here in this order. At the original petition, I just pulled it up. But this order here basically is confirming he wanted to be removed. Plaintiff's motion to drop Trustee Stanley Brown as a plaintiff is not objected to by defendants and therefore is granted. Stanley Brown is hereby stricken as a plaintiff in this matter. Plaintiff's motion for entry of a temporary restraining order is denied for failure to file verified pleadings. Oh, God. Solomon, you are the worst. I don't understand why you choose to be an attorney. Hey, come on. Motion for entry of a temporary restraining order is denied for failure to file verified pleadings. The most basic and mundane thing you can do. You failed to do it. Come on, man. You know what? I don't even expect more out of that. Plaintiff was allowed to proceed on the unverified motion for a temporary restraining order and for the reasons stated on the record. Plaintiff's motion for entry of a temporary restraining order is denied. Just taking L's in every paragraph. Oh, God. Yep. Denied. Come on. Proceed on the unverified motion for a TRO and for the reasons stated. Just said no. Defendant's motion for Rule 137 sanctions is entered and continued. Plaintiff shall file a response to the motion for sanctions on or before November 8, 2024. Plaintiff's oral motion for leave to file an amended pleading is granted. Basically, he gave her an extension to send over an amended petition. Plaintiffs shall file their amended pleading on or before November 1, 2024. Okay. Here's the second page to this order. Defendant shall file the responsive pleading, of course, to that complaint by December 6, 24. The Dalton Park District is hereby dismissed from this lawsuit. Yep, because she kept naming everybody and adding everybody, and no one wanted to be a part of this. Jesus Christ. The meetings of the Dalton Board of Trustees shall continue to occur at the Dalton Park District with its approval and in accordance with the Attorney General's binding opinion 24-010. And I'm going to pull that up because I have it. Trustee House is reminded that Mayor Henyard is by law to preside over village board meetings. In the future, Mayor Henyard is allowed a reasonable amount of time to appear at the village board meetings to preside over same. If she does not appear at future village board meetings, Trustee House may preside over the meetings as Mayor Pro Tem. So there you go. You skip months of being a mayor. Someone else has to fill that space. Because things have to move on. And you holding a whole village hostage over your bullshit. What kind of nonsense is that? And what's worse, she got people supporting her at this dumb buffoonery. Just as an FYI, because I don't make videos for super gurus. But just as an FYI, she does not care about either of you. Basically, if one thing would have happened, if she had to point the fingers at all of you all, she would to save her own ass. She could care less that you exist. So, unless you're extremely loyal and you idolize her, you bow down and worship her, something like that, she doesn't even know who you are. And I can guarantee you, she will never care. Oh, goodness. All right. Here is a meeting announcement for the board. And as you all can see, this was dated October 7, 24. This is another exhibit that was a part of the first court documents. I read it's like 174 pages long. But, yep, found this in here, this little goodie. So as you can see, this is under new business. He brought forth a plethora of motions to try to get passed, to try to, put some checks and balances in place. But I want to bring your attention to the letter G, motion to approve procedures and process for protecting citizens' info and no general public allowed in work areas of Village Hall or any additional village properties, public works, water department, and Melanie Fitness Center. And this was from Trustee Belcher. Okay, well, 2 points for whomever can get right why this motion is being added to be at least discussed and approved. First of all, Kamal was fired and he's no longer an employee at town hall. Please explain to me why he went to town hall still through a back door if he's no longer an employee. I mean, at what point does the board grow a spine and say, listen, you got to get your ass out of here. You don't work anymore. I mean, if he's able to go in there and just roam free and do whatever he wants, you're talking about a whole lot of things being done. He shouldn't even be able to access that building. He was fired. He has to be treated like everybody else. Don't nobody give a damn that he's dating dumbass. Super stupid guy, her whole boyfriend up in there just roaming the halls. So naturally, they're going to want to see him find a way to try to protect, confidential information. You don't need to be roaming around the place like you own it. Hell no. Then you have this motion to approve transfer bank accounts and open new bank relationship with Wintrust Bank. Now, we all know, I touched on this earlier. We all know why she had to be removed. Super Stupid had to be removed from the bank account. But I applaud them for taking measures to try to, listen, we'll close that account. We'll just start a new one. That way, we know what's going on. We have access to it. We can get bank statements and all those other things. Because otherwise, she's just going to keep going until we is in negative 10 million. It's like, she'll keep going and not care about a deficit. Nope. Not at all. So they had to put the motion on the floor to transfer bank accounts and open a new bank with Wintrust Bank. I don't know if never heard of that bank, but either way. So just, you guys can read this if you want and just kind of see some of the things that have been passed. And you can tell that they're creating resolutions and ordinances to try to, get things back to some level of normalcy. Motion to approve ordinance number 24-014, amending the village code regarding temporary or interim appointments. Yeah, wonder why that had to be passed. She tried to appoint people without board approval. Plus, I haven't read that ordinance, but it seems like it would knock out two birds with one stone. Because it'll give Jason House the authority to act as mayor pro tem. But it also, kept her from hiring people or appointing people without the board approval. So I haven't read it. You guys can look up, though. You have the ordinance number, so you can always, research that online. And it should be available to review. But, yep. And then it was over. So I want to just show this article here about Jason House becoming mayor pro tem, and I don't remember what this is for. Daily Southtown. I printed this. Southtown Star. I think that's the name of the article. But either way. So I just want to highlight the information on page 2 here. And it specifically states having the authority of mayor pro tem gives me the consistent authority to act as mayor in the event Dum Dum is absent from a meeting or unable to act in her capacity as mayor. And then further down, it says basically Dalton annually sells bonds to pay for garbage pickup Tax levy includes collecting property tax revenue to pay the principal and the interest on the bonds. So I can't remember who said something with the bonds. I'm like, okay, well, if they're paying on them, it's like a loan. I think it's a given. You might be in some debt. You got to, have to get bonds and then end up being close to defaulting on them. Yeah, that's going to hurt. But, this isn't the only state to have to get some bonds. I mean, let's just be honest. But the whole concept of Jason House not having the authority to sign a check, he did. He had the same authority as Super Stupid being mayor. So him signing a check was very legal. It was by order of the court. Because I saw that in the footnote in the other document that I read out. And on top of that, he gets the authority to do this, to handle the business. Because she was not coming to meetings, locking the people out. Then you get in there, she don't want to prove anything, or she's trying to deliberately shoot down everything, I guess, that she don't approve of, simply because of reasons. You don't get to withhold money from the vendors when you're sitting here throwing a tantrum because all these frivolous expenses where you did not produce an itemized invoice is being taken off that damn list. So that was her way to retaliate. Just childish as hell. Oh, and I would add in there, if there's, for obvious reasons, a justification to do that even the more, because she's derelict in duties. Trying to keep checks from being, sent out, and when the board approved payments to certain vendors and contractors, she's trying to be combative and didn't want that to go through. So now you're intentionally, not only abusing your power, you're not even fulfilling the duties of that position. So that's what it means to be derelict. And of course, more validation as to why Jason House was mayor pro tem, plus the order of the court. And you're not going to override the judicial branch of government. You weird Ewok. All right. Okay, and I do want to, because I'm almost coming up at 2 hours, I'm going to try to speed this a little further. But it's worth it, though. It's worth it all the time, because we're going over a whole lot of documentation here. But this is an article from, is it the Illinois Watchdog? I think it is. Yeah, you guys can check this out. But it's the, basically, she loses the bid to remain on the bank account. Trustees pass a resolution to get her name off the village's bank account, which should have prevented her from signing any checks. During October 3/22 board meeting, Super Stupid obviously upset one of her items, her agenda items was vetoed down, told the trustees they will not be paid due to their voting her agenda item down. Are you kidding me? At what authority do you have the right to do that? So how is that not fraud? Okay. That's a whole law you violated. I mean, labor laws even. You don't have people come in and do their work and earn income and then say you're not going to pay them because they want to prove something you won't. That is the epitome of a bribe, almost, except by force, and no one likes it. You're sitting here trying to withhold people's checks because they didn't agree to pay out some nonsense you won't. Especially when you won't produce an invoice. Once again, no invoices. So you guys can see here the writer gave his opinion, which is logical and reasonable, that was a retaliation and intimidation by an elected official. And then, of course, you see Section 12-6 sub A6, and then official misconduct. These are laws they're citing here. So if by now you are still asking, well, what law is she breaking again? Yeah, no, you're lost cause and you don't have a brain, and thinking would not be in your best interest. Woo-cha! This is something else. Oh, man. She's sitting here trying to bully and intimidate people by withholding a check because of some nonsense she won't. Okay. So she filed a complaint with the TRO, which is what we saw earlier, where she added in Stanley Brown in the other one. And Cook County Judge Celia G. Gamrath heard the TRO on October 7, 2022, issued an order that stated in part this was not an emergency, so it was denied on that. Paid the trustees immediately all payroll and outstanding approved paper checks for expenditures previously authorized by the corporate authorities bearing the mayor's name shall be honored. The special meeting, meaning that they can pay the bills where she signed it. But there were invoices being approved to be paid, but the payment just wasn't going out, which is asinine in and of itself. The things she will do to be spiteful and vengeful and retaliatory and deplorable and disgusting is just beyond comprehension. And you wonder why I have no respect for her. Because I don't. Oh, God. The special meeting set forth by trustees shall not review and pass upon approval of bills. Specifically, agenda item number 6, entitled corporate bills, shall not be passed upon, considered, or otherwise voted upon by the corporate authorities. Payroll check for the current pay period to the trustees and clerks shall be issued on October 7th. Of course, this is where it made news on October 7, 2022. Hearing the clerk returned to work only to find, and this is after the hearing, the clerk returned to work only to find the locks had been changed in her office. This is the level of petty bullshit that she puts out there. You broke the law. You took her off the account. You removed her as a signatory. You sent checks out to Oak Construction, to K5, no approval from the board. And somehow you feel slighted. Girl, if you don't kick rocks. Then you locking people out their office. This is after she was locking people out of town hall. God, they couldn't get a meeting going because she locking them out. And then want to complain about them going somewhere else. Bitch, please. Oh, man, okay. So you guys could just take a look at this. This is really good. Of course, she, used the clerks. The trustees held the meeting without power and received their payroll check bearing the mayor's signature stamp. They still had a meeting without power. Who was that mentioned something about the lights? Maybe that was Thornton Township. Knowing the mayor could no longer sign village checks, the trustees could not deposit or cash their payroll checks because those checks bear the stamp of the mayor's signature. Great. I would assume that, anything she had already signed should go ahead and be processed, but okay. This is just another article that you guys could check out. But of course, they went to court about that nonsense. Her request for the TRO was denied. There was no irreparable injury. Remedy at law not inadequate. No allegation trustees overstepped any authority. Court ordered trustees cannot pay bills without the mayor submitting warrant lists and approval by a board of trustees. Trustees cannot add to the warrant list without mayoral approval and later board approval. Access to bank account by trustees limited to signature authority. Mayor will not have signatory authority and cannot make payments. So you all see that here. This is going back to 2022. This is the hearing they had based on her frivolous lawsuit. Who child? So he had the right to sign that check. No bank or check fraud. Honestly, somebody need to sue Bo Brinley. Because he just, man. I expect Super Stupid to be the moron she is, but he just really overstepped it. His conduct was awful. You lied so bad, you didn't even take time to read this stuff. But yeah, no, she was not added back to the account as a signatory. But then you guys saw that meeting minutes where they basically had a motion to transfer the bank account to a totally different bank. because that was really the only assured way to try to get her off of this so they could pay bills that need to be paid and not pay for dumb things like trees and sidewalks or a water park or a $1.4 million skating rink. That all this stuff costs an absurd amount of money. It's ridiculous. So no, she didn't have signatory authority. And I want to highlight this. This was, in 2022. So the check that Jason signed was in 2024. So they had already gotten her off going back to 2022. So explain to me how that check was fraudulently signed by Jason House again. Because they seem to have selective amnesia. Super stupid and her dumbass attorney. Y'all seem to have selective amnesia. He's just not reading stuff. He's not really doing his homework and, at least take time to Google something. He's not trying at all. It's like he's just going on every word she's saying, that's it. He's not vetting any of that. He's not even probably questioning her hard enough. Makes no sense. That money ain't worth it, Brenda. It's not worth it. So this is basically discussion notes from that hearing. It's not a complete record. If you want a complete record, you can go get the court transcript from the court and ask for a copy of the transcript so you guys can see the full hearing and be able to read that transcript and follow along. But this is just a discussion, like a summary. Of course, she raised, her moot point about the ordinance in and of itself when they had passed a resolution to have her removed. Plus, she wasn't doing what the law required her to do, or the ordinance. She was given opportunity to uphold it, but she was granted that injunction. But yet and still, she turned around, break the law, violate ordinances. They had to pass a resolution, and now she's still bigly mad. You still bigly mad. What the hell? Oh, God. So her whole thing was, we need to go back to the status quo. No, the hell we don't. Nope. Nope. And you guys can see just certain things I highlight that was, kind of debunking the BS between her and Brinley and what they were saying in that video. The very day of the last hearing, she signed 3 checks. Those 3 checks being the Oak construction checks to unapproved vendors for more than $10,000. It was 2 checks for $5,000 and then a check for $2,000. So yes, that would be more than $10,000 is $12,000. So $5,000 and another $5,000, then the other $2,000. And if you want to go back to the beginning part of my video to see those checks, you can. But that totaled up to $12,000. And the old construction was not even approved. They weren't even approved, Lord. So, yep. Motion for sanctions based off the agreed temporary order. Bills approved by the board have not been paid, even though the judge said to do that. Believe they will be back in front of a judge for contempt because she doesn't care about laws. And I already highlighted laws that she broke. The suggested order requiring 3 people can sign the check, and that being her, clerk, and senior trustee as a compromise. So they sitting here trying to compromise the situation while she's still pouting over not having complete control. This is not a dictatorship. We do not condone that in the United States of America. You want to be a dictator? Take your black ass out of this country. Go somewhere where you can rule the land, and then you can dictate what you want over there. Just get out of here. You do not have absolute power. So, of course, she would disagree with everything and just want what she wants. And I'm just kind of just giving a summary. The trustees did argue they did not believe that there was any defect in their motion to override the veto, and it was on the agenda. A technical or procedural defect does not affect the validity of the action. So under this new ordinance discussion, no checks written without mayor submitting them as a warrant list to the board and trustee and clerk only signature. So, of course, once again, the Jason House And the clerk who was added on. Looks like she was added back on. With only 2 signatories on the account. They had already taken her off. She violated the ordinance. She violated state law. She deserved to be kicked off. That's it. That's how that goes. If we don't do that, then how you hold her accountable? And then shift it to, but the trustees, this, that, and the third. What the hell I got to do with her willfully and intentionally writing out checks like this that's not even on the list without board approval or anything else for that matter? There are just actions and things she does that needs to be solely placed on her and blamed on her because she did it. She did it. No one forced her to do this dumb shit. Of course, the bank with signatory authority being that she could get documents, but she could not sign. But they do have the right to, be able to get that information as well. So, yeah. Now, you see at the bottom, Henyard wants trustee and clerk only as signatory. You all see this. Highlight and expand that. That way, when she lies like hell, acting as if she didn't know that Jason House was mayor pro tem or had, the ability to sign the check, that's a lie. That's a whole lie. I think this was 2022, right? Yeah, it was. It was the hearing from October 2022. So yeah, this has been what, 2-3 good years? People just not figuring out he actually signed the checks. Is that, because I was not born there. I flew there and landed there and hatched an egg there. So you got people who were born there and still saying dumb things. It doesn't make any sense. How did y'all miss this? I'm not saying all of you. I'm saying the ones that sit here and talk about her, that's a receipt. He wasn't supposed to sign the check. Yes, he was. By order of the court. Yes, he was. So hopefully people watch this, or if you see someone saying this nonsense and they spreading false information, point them to my video. Hell, take a picture of this and you can show it yourself. I honestly don't understand why people are going against facts and laws. Those things are not debatable. It's not based on your opinion. It is objective. Unless they tapped out of this reality, she's not above the rule of law. Now, I said she lost some on last year. She's gone. But for those that continue to say, he shouldn't have signed that check. That's a receipt. No, it's not. It's a complete misleading, false perception of a lot of things and just flat out malicious slander and lies from both of them goofy clowns. Super stupid and Brenda. The audacity. But she wants trustee. You see here, Henyard wants trustee and clerk only as signatory, not complete access to the account. Court is allowing alleged invalid ordinance to continue. Still wants the TRO to stay enforcement of the new ordinance. And then, of course, the trustee agreements on all 3 accounts that basically usurp the mayor's stated claims. They agree that they're going to follow these things. But they also state, we didn't break the law when we introduced this resolution on this new ordinance. But they addressed the new ordinance in court in front of a judge. And here's the last thing she said here. There's no irreparable injury. Remedy at law not inadequate. No allegation trustees overstepped any authority. TRO denied. Y'all see that for yourselves. There you go. Okay, this is the last article I have. And this, once again, this is the Illinois. Is it Illinois Leaks the Watchdog? I don't want to try to pull that up because I don't want my information on my screen to show. But either way, you guys could look this up and just, you can see the title. So if you just type in the title of these articles, it should come up automatically. And then you can take a look and read for yourself. This is basically just kind of reiterating she was not on the bank account as a signatory. They do have the right to still get bank statements and other information. They're alleging forgery and withholding financial records. I mean, she did. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up that op-ed, the opinion, that came from the AG. So I'm gonna pull that up because that's imperative to see. So she filed the complaint on December 22, 23, with the supporting motion in the TRO. She's still walking around pouting because she can't have access to everybody else's money. Kenya issued checks like using the signature stamp of the village clerk without authorization. That is the epitome of forgery. I've already repeated that. Henyard has not presented checks for signature for October and November 23, leaving approved bills unpaid or simply issuing checks without the clerk's signature because she did it at least 4 times that I just showed. Not then tried to be slick about it. Henyard has refused to issue payments for invoices approved by the village board. She caused the clerk's name to be removed from bank account access and caused other names to be added without the approval of the clerk or the board. So she usurped laws like it was nothing. And if you want to see the statute codes, go back to the beginning of my video where you can see the state statute codes and the ordinances that she violated. They're laws. They're as effective as laws as it would be if it was a federal law. She does not have the authority to break the law. And for some reason, people are giving her this authority. It's disgusting to think that we have a 3-branch government here that is designed to have checks and balances. Whether it flows smoothly or not, you don't like it, go run for a legislative position so you can help change and amend laws. But this is what it is. And she violated them. Plain and simple. So, having somebody else's signature on anything, even if it's you handwriting it or using a stamp, it's still forgery. And that could be considered check fraud. You forging someone's, it is check fraud. You forging someone's signature with a stamp on a check that you know you did without their approval. That is check fraud and forgery. Because you took that check, you gave it to someone, and then they took that check and put it in their bank account. So that's fraud. At this point, if you still think that, oh, that's not a law. Okay, no. Laws aren't laws, I guess. But that is forgery. That is the epitome of it. So, hence why she was never put back on. But she also agreed to it. In the other article I just showed. She agreed to that. She didn't have the authority to sign a check. But she was still doing the shit. She restricted access of the trustees to certain financial information of the village and failed to provide monthly financial reports and credit card statements to the trustees. So while she's violating many, many laws about forgery and check fraud, her damn self, and trying to ignore the fact that Jason had the authority, per agreement, to act as mayor pro tem and to be on the account as a signatory. Going back to 2022. So, there you go. Okay. One last thing. Actually, this is the last court document I'm going to pull up for this, and then I'm going to pull up that daggone check that everybody keep trying to falsely accuse Jason House of forging. Not check fraud at all, because there's a whole last court order that gave him and the board the authority to execute checks based on the new ordinance that was set forth from that TRO hearing that she just lost. By the way, just lost. Now, this case is going back to 2022 now. Check Jason wrote was in 2024. So you guys can check this out here. This is the order of the court. This is what the article was referring to by order of the court, and as well as the injunction that the trustees filed against Super Stupid for continuously violating ordinances and state laws. So, yep. This is the order. But here is specifically where the judge gave them the power to utilize the new ordinance and to execute checks under the new ordinance. For any checks that came through and were approved after that TRO hearing. And that's on point number 5. So by further agreement of the parties. This is by further agreement of the parties. Meaning Super Stupid and the Board of Trustees agreed on this. But it was also reinforced and backed up by this order. But they agreed on it. So while she's running around here saying all this nonsense, she needs to acknowledge the fact that she agreed to it. Period. But either way, the village board may consider and approve warrants at the village board meeting of that was from October 17, or on the next meeting that was coming up in that year on October 17, 22. This order was signed on October 7th, 22. However, no checks other than the ones indicated above, any necessary additional payroll checks and insurance checks, no check shall be executed by the trustees pursuant to their check signing ordinance 22-004 prior to the hearing on the TRO as reflected in this order. So whatever checks they had and had approved on prior to the TRO hearing could not be executed on this new ordinance. So the judge did allow them to maintain the authority to be signatories with the board, and for her to stay off the check account to be able stay off of the account as a signatory to be able to sign checks. This is by order of the court. And if the legalese is throwing you off, I suggest, I'm not an attorney, so you might want to contact Nate the lawyer or Debt Free Dad. I think his name is Marcus. Yeah, they're great attorneys that constantly give a breakdown of what's going on and how to read and understand these court docs and everything else. So there's some great resources there. But that's what this ordinance is. This order is saying. So hold on a second. All right, Shazam! Here it is. Now, if you look at the check, which some people won't read, but for those who do, you see the date on this check. And they highlighted it, the posted date at the bottom. Date on this check was written, and I know it's kind of like typed over, it looks like. I had to do a print screenshot from a video. This was not the best copy ever. But anyway, you see the date. It's 08. It's supposed to be 08/05/2024. But even if you were focusing on the year, Jason had the signatory authority going back to 2022. And that court order was signed October 7th that we just saw of 2022. So he had already had the ability to sign a check 2 years leading up to this check here on August 5th of 2024. This is for $108,145.89 and posted on August 19th, 2024. So, and this went to OSMFM. I don't even know what that is. OSMFM Ltd. And of course, typed out amount or whatever. But he signed it because he had the authority to do it on a court order. And they agreed to it. Both parties agreed to it. I read the article where it said that she agreed for the trustee, Jason House, acknowledging he was mayor pro tem, to sign the check along with the clerk. So he's been a signatory this whole time. The problem is she was listed on there and didn't want them to have access to get bank statements and other documentation, which is absurd. Because either way, that information is still considered financial disclosures. And under federal law, you're required to make that accessible to the public, not just the board. You can redact it out just like this. You see this blackout? That's a redaction. So if our attorneys are competent enough to know how to properly redact, they could just redact the bank statements. But it does not mean that they should not be given to the board or made available to the public. Right along with the credit card statements. That's the same concept. So this check in 2024 is valid and legal. It's not check fraud. It's not bank fraud. It's not forgery. It's a matter of him exercising the agreement they made in a court order. That's it. This is why I love reading these court docs. Yeah, this is 2 hours long. And I'm not worried about it because some people stream for 3 and 4 hours and nobody says anything. So hopefully you guys found this to be very helpful and enlightening. I know it was a lot of information, but I try my best to put out, information that kind of connects and makes sense. I kind of get that a lot where people are like, well, I don't fully understand. And I had the video on my channel. Hold on, let me pull that up. So if you guys look at my, I have the Super Stupid playlist on my channel. So it's all things related to, my reporting and research on her. But if you see here, the real receipts on Super Stupid lawsuit docs, full FBI subpoena music. This is all of the, not including the court order we went over today, the injunction, because that was 174 pages long. I would rather email that to you all, whoever wants it. I would rather email it. But this video is just a ton of court documents and pleadings, lawsuits, the full FBI subpoena, all of that information that I've been able to gather so far in one video. And it's just got some music in the background. And I understand it might be a little fast, but what you can do is just change the playback speed, slow it down, and then you can take your time where you just pause the video and just read whatever, because there's a lot of information. I just wanted to put that out there so y'all can have that in one place, in one video. There are a lot of new court docs and information that I have that are not going to be in that video. So I'm going to have to do another video just posting up. Typically, I call it just the facts, but it was suggested to call it the real receipts. So that's exactly what I did. And this is where Super Stupid, his head is on a chicken body. Because, squabble, squabble. All right. So you guys make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out all the other great content. Hit the like button on this video if you guys want to, donate to the cause of trying to get some upgraded equipment and things of that nature to give you guys some great content and videos. You can donate to Cash App. That's $LadyLuckClubLLC. Or you can do super stickers and super thanks, super chats, all that good stuff. And I'm working on this wish list. It's been recommended, suggested for me to do a wish list. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know what to buy. So I just want to, maybe I'll just post up the items. And I guess if some of you all who have great live streaming equipment can offer any tips, maybe can in the comment section of the post, I'm going to post the list up in a post and maybe recommend certain brands and where to get them from, or if there's an alternative if you want. I'm assuming the wish list is for others to be able to just click it and grab it if they want. I'll try my best to get specifics of each one, but I do want to just at least post up the list. And I want to give a shout out to Dear Work Christian for helping me kind of understand what I needed to get. Because I know I've asked a few people, and I get, people are busy. So he did offer a lot of insight and a lot of help with me coming up with the list and whatnot. So however you guys would like to, just be a blessing to the channel, I'm grateful for it either way. I appreciate the subs, all the likes, all the love shown, all the support. And I do plan on doing a live, I guess tomorrow, because there's a meeting I heard is about to occur, and I want to be able to do a live before the election on Tuesday, and then do another one, of course, on the day of. And I'm still trying to work out the semantics of how to, get StreamYard up and going so that I can be able to at least do a live where you all can see the screen. But either way, you guys hit the like button and share this. Pass it off to people who still don't understand laws and facts and reading, simple math. I mean, they're just people who just they're tapped out. They're not mentally here. They don't care. I don't care who supports super, but I do question your integrity. But at the end of the day, in all that get some understanding. And the only way to get that is if you read. Otherwise, you won't understand what you're reading, and it could lead to making dumb statements and asking weird questions like, prove it. Prove the law. What law she broke? We went over that. It's a 2-hour video. A lot of court orders I brought up. A lot of court docs. So, there you go. You guys continue to take care of yourselves and each other. I am exhausted if you can't tell. But it's time to go to bed so I can get to work tomorrow. I hope you guys have a good evening. And until the next one, Lady Luck out. Deuces.